Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your TAW Recap as I go through everything that is going on in TAW from TAW Action, Rivals, and UCT. And we are starting with the December 14th episode of TAW Action and the final episode of TAW Action of 2016, as well as the last TAW Action before No Escape. This was a very loaded show, starting off with the Internet Champion Krillin versus Carnage in a non-title matchup. Near the end of this back-and-forth matchup, Ronald McDonald appeared on the ramp in an attempt to distract Krillin. However, it worked at first, but Krillin was still able to defeat Carnage with a Destructo Disc after he countered the Carnage Cutter. After the match, Ronald McDonald attempted to attack Krillin, but Krillin fought back and sent Ronald packing. Up next was America Kane versus Bullseye in a pretty peculiar match, to say the least, that saw America Kane pick up a victory over Bullseye after a massive chokeslam. And I believe this may have been America Kane's first ever victory in TAW. The following contest saw the TAW Tag Team Champions, Pennywise the Sweet Tooth of the Clown World Order, taking on the newly formed team of Slenderman and Undead Santa Claus in a non-title match. The CWO proceeded to absolutely demolish the two before picking up a decisive victory with Pennywise's It Factor. However, the current number one contenders for the tag team titles, Superman and the Hulk, attacked the champions after the match. Up next, Dr. Strange made his TAW Action debut against William Wallace, and during the highly competitive match, William Wallace missed his signature Freedom Elbow Drop, allowing Dr. Strange to be able to take advantage and defeat him with the Dodon. Then Freddy Krueger faced off against Jeff Hardy in a singles match, and after a very close match, Freddy Krueger caught Jeff Hardy in mid-air with a crossface to win the match via submission. However, after the match was over, Freddy attempted to assault Jeff, but Liu Kang made the save and the two got into a very huge brawl that had to be broken up by security. Up next, Sophie Kane and Lara Croft had a one-on-one rematch with Sweet Tooth, the father of Sophie Kane, at ringside, and after reversing a small package, Lara Croft was able to get the pinfall victory over Sophie Kane. Then Austin Aries took on Knuckles as he prepares to face off against Shadow the Hedgehog at No Escape. During the match, Knuckles attempted a top rope move, but Austin Aries caught him with a superplex, followed by his signature Brainbuster to pick up the pinfall victory. And finally, the main event of the show, Gohan and Dante took on Phil and the Joker in a tag team match. During the match, Ronald McDonald attempted to interfere in order to help his friends, but he was stopped by Krillin. And immediately after that, the Joker hit Dante with the Joker Driver, but Dante reversed it into a pinning combination and defeated the Clown World Order. The CWO was very unhappy with this and attempted to assault Dante, but was stopped by Gohan. However, the TAW champion Frieza appeared and laid Gohan out with a death ball as he prepares to defend his championship at No Escape. Up next was a Star Wars Rogue One movie promo as Jyn Erso made her TAW debut against fellow Star Wars member, Asajj Ventress in a singles match, and after a very impressive showing by Jyn Erso, she defeated Asajj Ventress via pinfall with a flatliner. And after that, on a UCT promo video, Usain Bolt was challenged by Hazmat to a rematch for the UCT Lightning Weight Championship, and Hazmat accepted as long as Johnny Ohm was banned from ringside, and that brought us to TAW UCT, where that was the main event of the show. But up next was the December 21st edition of TAW Rivals, and there were 5 matches on this show, starting off with the TAW World Heavyweight Champion Frieza himself versus Electro in a non-title match. Now, Electro was surprisingly, up to par in this match. He faced off well against Frieza, however, at the very end, Frieza, despite getting busted open, defeated Electro with a decisive death ball to win the match and build momentum going into No Escape. And up next was a huge big man match between King Kong and Samson, and after a very hard-hitting match, Samson was able to put away King Kong with a massive spear out of nowhere for the big pinfall victory. But after that, backstage, Freddy Krueger assaulted Liu Kang and powerbombed him into a soda machine. So one has to wonder how that is going to affect Liu Kang going into their street fight at No Escape with Liu Kang's title shot on the line. And up next was Shadow the Hedgehog versus Chris Jericho, and as Austin Aries built momentum going into their match at No Escape on TAW Action, Shadow the Hedgehog did the same by defeating Chris Jericho with a huge corkscrew axe kick. And up next was Anderson Silva versus William Wallace. William Wallace looking to redeem his loss on Action to Dr. Strange, and he did just that by putting away Anderson Silva with the Braveheart piledriver. We haven't seen that move in a while, and it was great. But then the main event of the show, Sophie Kane versus Lara Croft in another rematch, a tiebreaker, but this was an Extreme Rules match, and this match was absolutely insane. Ladder spots, weapon shots, all over the place, and it ended with an absolutely fantastic counter into the Tomb Raider, where Lara Croft was able to pick up the decisive pinfall victory over her hated adversary. And a few days after that, on December 24th, was the TAW 2016 Christmas show. And yes, it was on the 24th, the day before Christmas, you know. And the first match of the show was Kane versus Christmas Kane versus America Kane versus Candy Kane. Way too much Kane. But at the very end of the match, Christmas Kane, very appropriately, won the match with a huge chokeslam. And after all that weirdness was Mrs. Claus versus Elektra in a very surprisingly competitive matchup. One would think that Elektra would just walk all over Mrs. Claus, but Mrs. Claus was able to pick up the win with a huge pile driver, knocking Elektra unconscious. And up next was Santa Claus versus the Grinch, where if Grinch won, he would get his job back. However, that did not come to be, as Santa Claus caught the Grinch in midair with a Jingle Bell Rock Bottom. And then was the main event of the show, Austin Aries versus Shadow the Hedgehog versus Samson versus William Wallace in a fatal 4-way Christmas ladder match, where the winner would get a title shot against whatever title they wanted, as long as it wasn't the TAW World Heavyweight title. And after a long, crazy ladder match, William Wallace ripped down the briefcase and won the match, and now he can challenge for whatever title he wants. And a week after this, on another UCT promo, Jeff the Killer and Cole Williams both aired their grievances about Green Lantern getting another title opportunity against Leonardo DiCaprio, which led to the Green Lantern coming out and challenging both of them to a triple threat match for his championship opportunity. And that is a perfect segue to UCT episode 14 on January 10th of 2017, the first TAW wrestling show of the new year. And it started out with that triple threat match, except it was in a steel cage match. Green Lantern versus Jeff the Killer versus Cole Williams in an escape the cage match for the Extreme Championship #1 contendership at Desolation. And against all odds, Green Lantern somehow won the match by escaping the cage. But after the match, Cole Williams assaulted Jeff the Killer, which I guess that means that he was blaming Jeff the Killer for his loss, because he did hit him with the go to sleep. And he put Jeff the Killer through a table with the Monster Bomb. Meanwhile, on the ramp, the current Extreme Champion, Leonardo DiCaprio, attacked the Green Lantern and laid him out with a decapitator on top of the stage. And up next was the fourth Femme Fatale match on UCT, the first match to determine the new triple threat, and it was Dollface versus Bella Swan, and a very interesting match that saw Dollface win the match via pinfall with a nice arm hook neckbreaker thing off of a counter. So that was a nice pinfall victory there. And up next was Johnny Ohm versus Ghostface, as Ghostface was trying to get revenge on Johnny Ohm for attacking him after the 6-man tag on the previous episode of UCT. However, this did not work out very well for him, because Johnny Ohm was in control for a lot of this match and put him away with the electroshock therapy powerbomb for the pinfall victory. Up next was the second Femme Fatale match, and it was Princess Fiona versus Princess Peach. And Princess Fiona pretty much mopped the floor with Princess Peach. She got a few moves in to counter Fiona, but it was pretty much all Fiona, and Fiona put her away with a huge Torture Rack backbreaker. And up next was Hollywood Black Hogan versus the champion, Leonardo DiCaprio, in a non-title match. And this was a very back-and-forth contest until the referee was accidentally knocked out by an elbow by Leonardo DiCaprio, which led to Skeeter Valentine, the current UCT champion, to come out and attack Hollywood Black Hogan, allowing Leonardo DiCaprio to score with a huge decapitator. However, Green Lantern came out and attacked Skeeter Valentine with a chair and speared Leonardo DiCaprio for a measure of revenge, and allowing Hollywood Black Hogan to hit his giant leaping leg drop for the pinfall victory over the Extreme Champion. And up next was a tag team match to prepare for the tag team gauntlet on the next UCT. Steve and Shaggy, the Clue Detectives, versus Little Mac and Rocky Balboa, the Kings of Boxing. And this was another very close match. However, at the end, it was just a parade of offense by the Kings of Boxing, leading to Little Mac hitting him with the big punch, the Star Punch, that's what it's called, the Star Punch, to get the pinfall victory. However, after the match, Yamcha and Vladimir Putin, who will also be in that tag gauntlet, attacked the Kings of Boxing to send them a message for that gauntlet match. And up next was the third and final UCT Femme Fatale match to determine who's going to join Princess Fiona and Dollface in that triple threat match. Ray versus Bernadette in a very weird matchup. And Ray was in control for a lot of it, but Bernadette was very impressive in her debut and was able to pin Ray with a surprise schoolgirl out of nowhere to win the match and join the triple threat. And then was our main event. The new UCT Lightning Weight Champion, defending his title against Hazmat in a rematch from Overload. And before the match even started, Johnny Ohm attacked Usain Bolt with the Electroshock Therapy Powerbomb, which almost led to Hazmat winning the match. However, after a long, grueling contest, Hazmat was defeated by Usain Bolt after a second rope, a lightning bolt, where Usain Bolt was able to pick up the pinfall victory and once again defeating Hazmat and remaining the UCT Lightning Weight Champion. And that is it for your TAW recap, and we will see you at No Escape, and it's just around the corner.